Are you visiting Alton Towers soon, or do you just want to make the most out of your future visit? Then you've come to the right place. Here's 8 helpful tips which should improve your next visit to Alton Towers. Unlike other theme parks owned by Merlin, Alton Towers have something called staggered openings, meaning their rides open at different times of the day. And at first it may seem a bit crap, but these later openings can really help you get on a few more rides. Let me explain how. The front of the park opens at around 10, which means the majority of people will go to the rides at the front of the park, as the ones at the back do not open until 11. Because of this, queues at the front tend to go to an hour almost instantly, but what I usually do to combat these queues is to head straight to the back part of the park and work my way backwards. Yes, you'll have to wait a bit of time for your first ride of the day, but then you'll be working against the crowds, meaning you'll make up that time. If you were to start towards the back of the park, it's probably best to start at Forbidden Valley, ride Nemesis a few times and Galactica if it isn't too busy, then go from there. But whatever you do, do not start at Dark Forest, as it's quieter in that area at the end of the day, which moves me on to my next point. As with any theme park, you'll find that at the end of the day, the ride queues are a lot quieter, so make your last ride count, as the queues close at closing, not the ride itself. But one thing I have noticed though when I've visited in the past is that Dark Forest and Forbidden Valley are usually dead during the last hour of the day, meaning you'll be able to get on those lower throughput rides such as Rita and Galactica without the long queue. The reason I'm saying this is that the front half of the park will be absolutely crowded with people trying to leave. Not only that, but the rides at the front also tend to be crowded at the end of the day, as people want to try and get some last minute rides. If you're interested, the main attractions that tend to be busy at the end of the day are usually the Smiler and Spinball Whizzer, so try to avoid them when the park is closing, as there is a good time of day where the front rides will be quieter. If you're that kind of person that likes to get on a lot of rides, this is something I recommend you do at every single theme park you visit, as it really makes a difference. And it's sometimes overlooked by not only enthusiasts, but general visitors, and that's have lunch early or late. What makes me say this is that during the main lunch period, a lot of the major rides are quiet, as the majority of visitors will be having lunch. So having lunch early or late will mean you'll be able to get on the busier rides at the front of the park, such as the Smiler and Wicker Man, with less of a queue. Another tip that relates to this is to bring your own food, as 1, the food there is expensive as hell, 2, waiting for food may take a while, and you don't want to be queuing for overpriced theme park food when you could be riding the rides. Alton Towers aren't just famous for their roller coaster collection. In fact, there's quite a decent supporting cast of flat rides, dark rides and even water rides, which are fun to do when the coaster queues get way too long. They have something for everyone, such as the kids rides at CBeebies Land, and if you're not into kids rides, they have some really good family thrill rides such as Marauder's Mayhem and The Blade, which are always on short queues. There's also some really good water rides such as Battle Galleons, and they even have some really good indoor attractions. My personal favourite dark ride would have to be Hex, so be sure to check it out if you haven't, but there are other indoor attractions including a Sea Life Centre, which is paid for with admission, and there's Jewel, which is a shooting ride similar to Toon Blaster. So if you don't fancy queuing over an hour for some of the roller coasters and you want to get on some good rides, I'd make sure you check out some of these smaller attractions. Now, to a lot of you this will be a simple no-brainer, but one thing I would 100% recommend you do is to download the Alton Towers app. And trust me when I say that this is one of the essentials for when you're visiting Towers, as you can find directions to the park, and it even shows queue times, general information about Alton Towers and ride restrictions. It also features a detailed map, which is very easy to understand. The app is also free and it's available on both Apple and Android, so before visiting the park, make sure you download this app, as it's really convenient and it makes a lot of things easier. Now this one might seem like a really weird one, but it's really helpful, and that's to avoid using the monorail. Riding it may seem like a quick solution at first, but when you include the time spent queuing up for the monorail versus the actual time spent on it, it will probably take up to half an hour, as it tends to get busy during opening and closure, which is why I find it's much quicker to walk. The route from the back of the car park to the entrance is around 15 to 20 minutes give or take, so you're actually going to save quite a lot of time if you just walk instead. Plus, you get exercise. Who doesn't love that? Now, this tip is very simple, but it's something that every Merlin theme park does quite well. Instead of paying £2 or over for a soft drink, I'd buy one of those refillable cups, which cost around £7. Whilst the price may seem a little bit steep at first, it's amazing value for money, as you can get unlimited refills. Better yet, the refills are free. If you're on a bit of a budget and you'd rather have a cheaper solution, there are water fountains around the park which you can refill your own bottles with for no charge. But whatever you do, do not get tricked into buying bottled drinks on park, as there are often better solutions which are better for value. So the final tip for this video is to take advantage of the single rider queues which have partly returned for the 2019 season. These single rider queues can or will be found on the Smiler permanently, and on peak days Spinball Wizard's single rider queue will also be open. So if you don't mind riding alone or you don't mind who you sit next to, then the single rider queue is definitely the right way to go if you want to skip the queues. Just note that the single rider queue won't always reduce your queue time, so you will have to make a bit of a gamble on whether it's worth it or not, but based on my personal experience it tends to reduce the queue time, so if you're on your own it's something I'd 100% recommend you do. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully these tips will improve your next visit, but who knows. If you want to see more of these types of videos, then be sure to let me know by liking the video, and if you have any other tips which you want to share with everyone which I didn't mention because, you know, me big dum dum, let others know in the comments. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you peeps very soon. I mean, have you seen how consistent I am at uploading?